Okay, we are live. All right. We're live on many of the social media platforms. In just a minute, we're going to be live on Instagram. I have to hit the go button. So, welcome everyone. You know me, I'm Dr. Cody Golman, and I guess we're also on, at least we're on your social media
Yeah.
platforms. So, say hello.
Hey, it's a good day here.
We wanted to get onto this video because Lisa's gone through the my Fast 40 weight loss hormone reset program. And how much weight are you down now, Lisa?
Uh, I, since starting the program, right at 22 pounds.
Nice job. That's
Yeah,
amazing. 20
yeah.
pounds. Yeah. And how long has that been, by the way? About
Started September 17th. So
it,
what's that? 2 months?
yeah, 2 months.
Yeah, two
Okay.
months. 2 months.
So
Amazing.
most people don't lose 20 pounds in an entire year. So this is pretty incredible in 2 months. But one of the things that Lisa was asking about was sleep and wanting to really dial this in. And so instead of um, going through just with her, I was like, let's make this a video. We're going to put this video in the Fast 40 as a course video because this is becoming it's such a big deal. And for me, I've really dialed it in. So we're going to talk about sleep. And I called this, why the title of this is why poor sleep is sabotaging your weight loss
Mm,
and how do you fix it? Sound good?
perfect. Perfect.
Okay. So, and we can I'm going to go through, first of all, a few things like why does sleep matter? I want to go through the stages of sleep
Mhm.
before I go through the actual tips because the why really matters. So basically, sleep is, and this is things that I think we kind of know, but we forget. But sleep is when your body repairs itself.
Yeah.
It's when your metabolism actually resets, and it's when your hormones balance. So what's interesting is like when have you gone to the doctor and asked, hey, how can I balance my metabolism or repair my body, or hey, can I balance my hormones? When has anyone gone to ask about these things and the doctor said, hey, first let's take a look at your sleep? No one ever. Why? Because that doesn't make money for pharmaceutical companies. I might sound like negative, but I'm telling you, I've made my entire career on telling people, listen, your body has everything it needs, and that's the truth. So I love people understanding how their body works. Doctors, the word doctor itself means to teach. It doesn't mean to prescribe.
Mm,
So doctors were intended to teach. And so I decided I'm going to not teach about medications. I'm going to teach about the medications your body already has. So lack of sleep, it leads to cortisol imbalances. So many women want to know how to balance their cortisol. Insulin resistance, major cause is lack of sleep. Weight gain, lack of sleep. Inflammation, lack of sleep. There's actually research I found that shows that women who sleep, well, people, but I work with a lot of women, obviously, but women who sleep less than 5 hours a night are 30% more likely to gain weight compared to someone who sleeps 7 hours, right? And then
guilty.
chronic, isn't that wild? Wild, right? So chronic short sleep is linked to, this is statistically, to higher risk of obesity, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes, even when those people were dieting and exercising the same. So hopefully you guys listen to hear that. I know a lot of people be watching this video. Diabetes is really linked to getting shorter sleep. So let's look at why that is. Did you know that, Lisa?
I did not. Nope.
Yeah. So it's pretty wild. So let's look at the stages, okay? And I didn't honestly, I didn't learn about this in chiropractic school. I didn't learn this about it in a medical textbook, in biology textbook. I had to literally go figure this out myself, and I've worked with thousands of people to figure this out. So light sleep is considered stage 1 and stage 2. Okay, light sleep literally is for the purpose of preparing your body for deep sleep. That's what it does. And as far as your hormones, this is like a transitionary phase. Your heart rate begins to regulate, and your heart rate and cortisol starts to lower during light sleep. So if you don't get light sleep, you aren't prepared for your deep sleep. So that's what's really important to understand about light sleep. And again, what's cool is you don't have to think about this at all. This is already hardwired into your system. The power that made you built this system in you, and I think that is so freaking cool just to even know that, right? So okay, stage 3 is deep sleep. This is also called slow wave sleep. Okay, so the purpose of deep sleep is physical repair, like literally physical repair. Fat burning is also there, and immune system restoration. So in deep sleep, growth hormone actually spikes. Growth hormone is what's essential for fat loss and for muscle repair. Also, a hormone that most people are unaware of is leptin and ghrelin. So leptin is your satiety hormone. So leptin actually increases, and ghrelin, your hunger hormone, decreases during deep sleep. And so, just so people can get an idea of this, growth hormone, you get about 70% of your daily growth hormone during your early deep sleep. So understand what happens is if you don't get that deep sleep, you can't, when so many people are going to exercising, doing fitness programs, but if you don't get deep sleep, especially the early phase, you're not releasing growth hormone, you will not build muscle. So that's why I take a lot of emphasis away from working out, because most people are breaking down their muscle working out, not building it. And you talk to bodybuilders, bodybuilders will tell you they sleep more than anyone. That's how they build their muscle. So that's stage 3, right? And then stage 4 is REM. This one I think is so freaking cool. During REM, so remember it's stage 4, it's the last stage. Your brain literally detoxes itself. There's something called the glymphatic system with a G. That's your lymph system for your brain. This is when your emotional reset happens here. Emotional healing happens here in stage 4. Literally emotional healing. Emotional regulation happens in stage 4. So if you're going to see a counselor and you're not getting stage 4 REM sleep, you're kind of wasting your money. I'm just telling you. Counselors and therapists may not like what I just said, but it's true. You're going to keep talking and talking, but your emotional healing actually happens during REM. Cortisol actually normalizes in REM. So your cortisol, this is when cortisol hormone completely normalizes and balances. It actually regulates. And then what's interesting is melatonin starts to decline during this, so you can actually wake up. And then when you look at it in general, your brain, if you don't get REM, you won't have mental clarity. Your memory is not as good, and you'll notice you're more emotional. So those are the 4 stages. Any thoughts on that, Lisa?
Um, you've helped me recognize how little deep sleep I get on a regular basis. And I've seen the direct correlation between how I feel the next day and also weight loss. So being able to track the differences on the scale has been huge. So first of all, just thanks for helping me better understand those stages. But I've seen the real life proof of the physiological and emotional and feeling oriented differences on days that my deep sleep is wildly lacking.
Wow, that's really cool. So for people watching this, that's something I mentioned to Lisa. Is like, hey, are you tracking your sleep? And so we started tracking it, and that's what she started seeing was, I think when you sent me one, I think one of them was like, didn't you get like 20 minutes of deep sleep or something?
Yeah, 18, 20, 23. I think overall over the last 6 months, I wear an Apple Watch to bed every night. Over the last 6 months, I've averaged only 23 minutes of deep sleep over 6 months.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Wild, right? Really wild. And this is what's interesting. So then you were kind of interested in, hey, when can I go work out and start exercising? And I'm like, never with that kind of sleep.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, because you would literally be doing your body more harm than good going to work out. That's what's interesting.
Wow.
And this is what, I'm 47. I'm saying this not out of ego, but I'm more fit than I was at 27.
Mm-hmm.
When I look around at 47-year-old men, I'm like, I can't believe the lack of health. And one of the biggest things is what we're talking about now is sleep.
Yeah.
And of course, with women, I will look out and you look at 47-year-old women, I'm going, they look at they're 67. And sleep is the biggest difference. It's the biggest difference. You'll see some people at 47 who look like they're 27.
Yeah.
And sleep, and it's like, we could talk about stress, we could talk about all the things to do throughout the day, but all those things are dependent, all of them resetting depending on your sleep. So thanks for sharing that, because and then this was a big deal. That's why we wanted to do this conversation, because we saw that with you, and it's like, oh crap, if that's happening with you and you don't even know it, you basically got used to having lack of sleep, and that was me as well. At 27 in our 20s, we're usually sleeping pretty crappy. You'll see by 40s and 50s what someone's done in their 20s and 30s, what they've done. It really starts showing up in your 40s and 50s. That's just the truth. And so many people spend, and you know this, Lisa, how many people spend probably hundreds of thousands of dollars on beauty and skin, but aren't getting good sleep. That's pretty powerful. What are you gonna say? Yeah.
Well, just I remember, the sleep challenges started for me when I was in junior high. I mean, early teens, and have just continued throughout my entire life. And, you can hear people talk about, oh, you need to get good sleep to have good health.
Right.
And I've heard that my whole life, but I didn't really know what that meant, beyond 7 to 8 hours. I never thought about the different levels of sleep being so relevant within that. And now to be tracking it, I'm kind of a nerd at heart. And so having numbers and metrics and being able to see how things connect has been fascinating. And I'm still a little lost in terms of knowing what the heck do I do with this.
Yeah. And let me ask you just briefly, what are the sleep challenges that you're facing? Like, because you said it started at an early age. What are the sleep challenges you face?
Yeah. So early on, I had a pretty severe case of, the only thing I know to call it is like sleep paralysis. So that space in between sleep and awake, just weird things would happen. And so I started getting like afraid to go to sleep. And my little, 12-year-old mind didn't know what to make of that. So I would make myself so exhausted that the minute my head hit the pillow, I just had to be out. And that kind of carried on, throughout life. I was always a night owl. And then when my daughter was born, she would get up at 5:30 in the morning. So I had to get up before her, and just for sanity. So, if I got over 5 hours sleep a night, I felt like I was doing pretty good. And that was for literally decades. I mean, we're talking probably 4 decades at this point. And then, so my body just doesn't easily sleep for longer periods of time. Getting 7 hours, since I've been on this program, the length of time that my average sleep is now 7.5 hours, which for me is a huge improvement. But even with that, I'm noticing that the deep sleep is still really missing. And so, it's just been ongoing.
Yeah, good. Thanks for sharing that, because I think a lot of people will share similar, maybe not exactly what you went through, but similar things and stuff like that. So I'm going to go through my tips, but remind me before we're done, I want to share with you what I share with my 7-year-old daughter, because I figured this thing out when I was about 28. And I didn't realize that it was a big deal. And I shared it with my daughter, and I was like, I wish someone would have told me about this. It is so freaking cool. So, okay, so let's go through our sleep hacks. So we understand the stages now, and I think, like you said, understanding this, when I understood the stages, I took it more seriously. And the reason I communicate about age and how we look, because that matters to us. And if we link sleep to weight loss and age and emotional regulation, all of a sudden it becomes more valuable. So the first thing I do, you'll notice right now, I mean, I'm wearing blue light blocking glasses. I thought this was bullshit. I'm just telling you straight up. I thought this was dumb until about 10 years ago, because I had sold a business I had, and I switched to a business where I'm online all day long. And I noticed at the end of the day, I was pretty like, I felt groggy. And so I got a pair of blue light blocker glasses, and I'm like, I can be on for 13 hours on the computer and I feel nothing. Wow. So these work. You get a good pair. They're freaking cheap on Amazon, but a good pair is $20, $30. And most important thing is you want to. I wear these throughout the day, okay? Because it's like you're staring into the blue light. Blue light is important for a circadian rhythm, but it's almost like you're outside all day long with the blue light coming in, so it's like almost exhausting. But the most important thing is you want to use the blue light blocking glasses if you're not on the computer all day like me. You want to use them after sunset. So just remember, after sunset is when your body is tuned into circadian rhythm. So when the sun goes down, this signals for melatonin to start coming out. So you want to screen the light, otherwise melatonin won't be released. So many people are and most people don't realize that melatonin is a hormone they already make. So many people think it's just something that comes in a bottle, right? But so when you the blue light will actually sort of stop melatonin from being released. So I will literally at night, and right now it gets dark at like 5:30. So I'll literally put these on at about 6, 7 o'clock because I'm on my phone. I might be watching a show. I might be on a computer. I'll put these on, and I actually have a version of these that is tinted so dark if they're red that it cuts out all blue light. So at 7 o'clock, I put on my tinted ones. You guys might sound like think I'm crazy, but I want to feel freaking good, and I love myself, so I'm willing to do that.
Mhm.
So the you'll see on Amazon, and you'll see they're literally tinted like red. If I watch a show at night, I watch them, and I watch them with these red glasses, and everything looks red. But eventually, my eyes kind of adjust. So some people go, "Oh, that's terrible. You can't see the show." I'm like, "Yeah, but I sleep really freaking good, and I still can see the show." So I personally turn off screens an hour before. So I wear the blue light blocking glasses around sunset when sun goes down. I have a friend who's changed all the light bulbs in his house. You can LED light bulbs. You can switch them from white to red at night. I thought that was genius. His bathroom lights are red. It was like that's a genius idea because red is the absence of all the blue light. So that makes a big difference. Um, and so yeah, just 2 hours on on a phone can cut your melatonin by 50%, and it delays it by an hour and a half. So that's why this is such a big deal. So many people are sitting in bed screening through their phone and scrolling, and they're literally like telling their body to stay awake, and they can't figure out why they can't fall asleep. That's a big one. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Second one, this one is big. Cut off food and water 2 hours before bed. I don't know. These tips, by the way, the tips I give you guys aren't something that I read in a book. I like experiential things. Research is cool, but research I found can be a little bit skewed by who does the research. So these are things I've actually used with thousands of people. Okay. So cut off food and water 2 hours before bed. By the way, pick a bedtime. So many people don't do this. Most of us that have kids, we pick a bedtime for our child. Why do we do that? Because if we don't, the kid is going to turn into a monster. That's why. And it's not because kids are monsters, it's because we as human beings turn into monsters when we don't get sleep. So it's the same with you human adults. Pick a freaking bedtime because you're going to turn into a monster. And so we are militant about our bedtime. Mine is 9 o'clock. Pick a bedtime. I started doing this years ago. It was life changing. So pick a bedtime so that way you can actually choose when to stop eating or drinking. If you don't pick a bedtime, you can't choose 2 hours before, right? So eating late will spike insulin and delay melatonin. Okay, drinking late disrupts your anti-diuretic hormones. In other words, you get up and pee more. So we want to drink water, but you want to drink most of your water during the day, not before you go to bed. I screwed this one up a ton because your kidneys, they're a muscle. They actually need to rest. And so one of the biggest things I found was I was waking up a ton, peeing, realizing, oh my God, I'm drinking water late at night. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Third thing is, how do we boost melatonin naturally? So you're gonna see some of these kind of tie together, but the dimming your lights after sunset and wearing your blue light blocker glasses will help you release melatonin. So LED lights are awesome. You can literally on your phone. I have all the LED lights in the house linked up to my phone app, and I'll change them to red. You can remove all the blue light. They even have in the app where you can choose the warm light versus the blue light, but that makes a big difference. Another one is get natural sunlight in the morning. I have many friends who are connected with this. They will literally go outside and they connect their eyes. They don't look at the sun, but they actually open their eyes and they get in sunlight. Now in Colorado, it gets pretty cold here. I'll stand in the window and just open my eyes and look outside to get sunlight because I want that to trigger that I'm waking up. And this will set your circadian rhythm with the sun. The other part of that is look up, and anyone can look this up, but eat melatonin-rich foods. I don't mean to eat them late at night. I mean throughout the day. Is like cherries are melatonin-rich, eggs, and there's different types of fish. A lot of fish are melatonin-rich, so they help your body release the melatonin. So just have those throughout the day. But you can look up a list of those. We don't have to go through those here. So that's tip number 3. How you doing over there?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Cool. This will be a video in the course, so you'll have this, right? Tip number 4. This one I've never heard anywhere. Okay, express your creative energy during the day. This one I've literally tracked because I track with my watch what things I do throughout the day, and what I found was when I don't express my creativity tries to express as restlessness at night.
Fascinating.
And remember, I'm not talking about having a conversation. I'm not talking about working. I mean your creativity. Do something to create. It could be whatever it is for you. But for me, if I create something new in my business, I sleep amazing. If I do the same humdrum thing, I sleep terrible. So you have a lot of creative energy that wants to be expressed. What do you think about that one?
That's fascinating. Yeah, now that's something else I'm going to track.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Yeah, and it really isn't just being busy. It's literally creating. Like I'll be like, ooh, I'm going to create this new funnel. Oh, like right now, let's create this new video. I'll sleep great tonight. I'm creating a new video. So it's like this unused emotional energy often appears as restless leg syndrome. The dumbest diagnosis I've ever heard might be restless leg syndrome. People go to the doctor and say, "Doc, my leg is restless." You have restless leg syndrome. You were told the same thing you came in and told the doctor. You didn't learn anything. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Doc, my leg is restless. I'm a genius. You have restless leg syndrome. You learned nothing. They just added the word syndrome after what you said. You didn't fix anything. You found out nothing. And I'm telling you right now, energy needs to be expressed. And so when it's unexpressed, that's where it'll go in your legs, your body. You'll feel antsy. Okay. That's number 4. Tip number 5. This one's probably obvious. Move your body. You do have a certain amount of physical exertion that you need. So physical activity, and this could be honestly, on our program, we have people walking 30 minutes. A 30-minute walk is enough. For some people, we need more. I do need more. But physical exertion reduces cortisol. So just a 30-minute walk will lower your cortisol levels, okay? And you lower adrenaline as well. For some people, you got to know yourself, but I have to go lift weights for me to have that. But if I can't, I will no matter what, rain, snow, it could be 9 degrees, I will go for a 30-minute walk. Because that lack of movement, there's an energy again that builds up, and that energy does spill over at night, and then you'll feel like anxious, and you'll get more shallow sleep if you haven't physically exerted yourself. And I don't mean physically worn yourself out, just get your body moving. It's almost like the government. When I was in the military, I joined at 17, and my job was a very wasteful job. Was to stock before I could go into the military, because I was so young. They had me just stock the refrigerators with candy and Coke, basically, so we could like get new recruits in. And so, but I asked them this conversation about how the military spends, and just because I had time, because I was doing nothing. And they said, listen, we have a certain amount of money we have to spend, otherwise we don't get it next year. So if we're allotted $10 million, we have to spend $10 million. Otherwise, we don't get as much. I thought that's exactly what your body does. If you're given 10,000 jolts of energy and you use 5,000, eventually it's not going to keep producing 10,000. Eventually it's only going to be 5,000. So just look at it from that angle. Okay, that's number 5. Let's see, number 6. This is big. You learned this, Lisa, in our program. Women and men are violating this. Eat enough during the day. Eat enough of the right things during the day. Under eating is the new GLP-1 injections are causing people to undereat. Let me just say it directly. Ozempic, Wegovy, they are trizepatides. They're causing people to undereat. Undereating causes hunger spikes. Lisa, what does your brain and body seek when you're hungry?
Sugar, I think.
Sugar. Yeah. Amen. Got it. Yes. That is hardwired in us. It's not something to punish ourselves for. It is biology. It's a 25,000-year-old mechanism. So what's so funny is people get off these drugs and then they're craving sugar because they just spent 2 months starving themselves. And then they punish themselves because they're seeking for sugar. Yeah. So hunger after dinner is often the sign of underfueling, not cravings. So I had someone just yesterday that was like, I had all these cravings for sugar. And I said, no, you didn't have cravings for sugar. You were hungry. And your brain knows the only way you can get fuel is by finding sugar. It's the fastest way to get it, we're going to say.
Well, I will say that on the Fast 40 program, I have eaten more food than like ever, but the hangries have gone away. The crazy, like sugar addicted symptoms have gone away. I haven't snacked at night a single time. I haven't missed any of it, which is the wildest thing. But I realized I need a lot more food than I thought I did. And once I actually started eating as much food as I actually needed of good stuff, not the crap, it has made such a difference in things like brain fog and focus and just happiness, and not being cranky when I get hungry. It's been wild, a huge shift in perspective.
Good job. Thanks for sharing that, Lisa. I'm glad. That's why I wanted to have you on here, just because it's easy for me to share these tips, but you have real life experiencing the changes while doing this. That's huge. Also, so many people are interested in blood sugar. Mm-hmm. And when you eat enough, like we train you to do, and you give your body 5 to 6 hours in between, something magical happens. Your body learns to regulate its own blood sugar. There's a false idea of grazing all day, somehow it's good. It's not. Your blood sugar never gets to stabilize. And so insulin and leptin actually create a better balance when you eat enough at a meal and then give yourself 5 to 6 hours. But all of this leads to better sleep at night. So that's a big tip.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that was tip 6. We're on 7. This one kind of tied in already a little bit, but it's really timing your water. It's timing your water. So it's just water in general. We recommend drinking half your body weight in water in ounces. So even see I'm on here, I'm drinking this. I love these. This is a 30-ounce container. I weigh 200 pounds. So I drink 100 ounces of water daily. And I screwed this one up so much, so I was drinking it. And here's the tip. You want to drink 60 to 70% of your water before 3 p.m. So I used to forget to drink water. And then I'd sort of like go work out and I drink all my water. And then I slept terribly, right? Because you're waking up peeing. Yeah. And so then I started hearing my patients say it too. It's like, I slept terrible. I'll keep getting on peeing. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, I drink half my body weight in water, but I drink it before bed. I'm like, oh shit. So if you really think about it, like I mentioned, your kidney's a muscle. Your kidneys have to filter all that. So your kidneys never get to relax. So that's when we started to come up with the rule of drink, your water mostly in the day. And then I started actually really realizing the moment I wake up, the best thing you do is go get water and drink water, because it's also a signal to your body that you're waking up. And food does the same thing. But most people, the first thing they do is drink coffee. And I'm telling you, if you want to shift your sleep, don't train yourself to wake up to coffee. And if the first thing you have is coffee, you have told your body, listen, this is what you're telling your body. Ignore the sun, ignore circadian rhythms, pay attention to caffeine. And I hope people hear it like that, because you're ignoring the God-given mechanisms we have with our planet by drinking coffee first thing in the morning. What are we gonna say?
Guilty. That's one thing that I've been working to shift. I've gotten to where in the morning I'll wake up and have warm lemon water. Instead of coffee first thing, I'll have warm lemon water and then a big glass of water before I ever think about coffee. But man, my sleep has been so weird for so long. In my mind, if it wasn't for coffee, I wouldn't function at all. So that's something I'm really trying to shift.
Yeah, and maybe honestly, Lisa, we should do a whole nother video on this for caffeine. But listen to this. Listen to what you just said. If it weren't for coffee, it couldn't function.
Yeah.
What that tells me right away is you're addicted to coffee, and you can't feel when you're tired. And what you're doing is you're literally, what do you think is happening? Your body's exhausted. Then you drink coffee to spike cortisol and other hormones. And now, hey, I'm awake. However, the damage that's done to your body, you can't see what's happening, because when you can't feel when you're tired, you don't know when to rest. So what's so funny about what you're saying is, look what you're saying is, I'm having a hard time sleeping at night, but I try to drink coffee to stay awake. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like backwards. So we've been spiking our system so we can't feel when we're tired, and then expect to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is many people too, by the way, Lisa, because I have many people when we've stopped coffee, it's terrible. What's one of the most difficult ones to get off, but it's because like so many people use it to have high activity, but notice the downside. And there's no bad or good. It's just everything is a downside. The upside is I get a lot done, but the downside is we're slowly destroying our body, and so it puts it in survival mode. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's a big one. So water first thing, and yeah, well, this is a whole other conversation. Maybe we do another conversation about caffeine and coffee, because there's benefits to it too. But yeah, so okay. So we talked about number 7 was the sleep. Let's do number 8 is to track your sleep. So this one, you and I started doing this, and the concept here is you cannot manage something you don't measure. In a business, if you don't measure your statistics, you can't manage what you're doing. It goes across the board. Relationships fail because they're not managing and measuring the stats. Meaning, people first get together and they're managing their stats when people first get together. They're going, hey, we went on 3 dates this week. That was awesome. They're actually tracking it. This is really cool. You go down the line, 10 years down the line, no one's tracking any stats, and you'd realize our stats are down. We don't go on dates anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't spend time together anymore, right? You cannot manage something you don't measure. And so it's the same thing with your body. I was never a fan of wearing a watch. Now I love this thing. I think, what were you using to track your sleep?
I have an Apple Watch. Yeah.
Apple Watch. Okay. So cool. Yeah, that's an easy one. So whether or not you wear a watch or a ring, I want to go through a few things with this, because many of my patients will say, I slept good or I didn't sleep good. And I found that that's not sufficient for tracking sleep. You actually don't know if you slept good or not slept good until you start tracking it. Like you got to see.
It was you asking that question to go deeper on, well, what do you mean you didn't sleep good? What does that really mean? What's your stats say? And that's when we went, whoa, deep sleep's really a problem. So thanks for asking that deeper question.
No, tother. Yeah. So whether or not they have Oura rings, I have a patient that just found a new ring called a Q ring. It was pretty inexpensive. Smartwatches. So when we look at it, the metrics are important, because since we know the stages, we have deep sleep. We want to get 3 to 4 hours. Of light sleep. So we start with light sleep first, because that was the first stage. 3 to 4 hours is a really good range of light sleep, because remember, light sleep prepares you for deep sleep.
Yeah.
When it comes to deep and REM, an hour to 2 hours of deep and REM is what we should have. And man, when I watch my stats, I can literally tell now that you guys you're kind of in tune with this. Remember, deep sleep was when your growth hormone was released. So if you want to build muscle, you have to get deep sleep. If you want your bones to repair, you got to get deep sleep. I want to say it this way. If you want to get sick less and have a strong immune system, you must get deep sleep.
Mm.
So many people through COVID, I wish we could do sleep stats, but there was two things that really affected people in COVID. The people got the most sick, it was not the elderly. There was many old people that didn't get sick. Many. It was these two things. Excess fat. Excess fat depresses your immune system, and lack of sleep depresses your immune system. Those two things, I guarantee, are the people that got hit from COVID the worst. I know no one's ever tracked the sleep, but I know the excess fat was a big factor.
Yeah.
Um, so so the deep sleep, you got to have 1 to 2 hours. And so remember, most of the growth hormone is released in early deep sleep, and it's released in spurts. So I've literally watched myself, when I get the most deep sleep, and it's interesting because it happens. I'll go through light sleep, and then for me, because I go to bed at 9 o'clock. That's my time. And right at about, it's 10, 11, 12, between about 12 to 1 is when deep sleep kicks in. Well, when I was drinking water, that's when I'd be waking up going to pee. And so that little thing would stop the growth hormone from releasing. And so your muscles couldn't repair. So who cares about working out when you don't have the hormones to build muscles and bones and repair the immune system too? Also, just as a little side note, there was a moment in my life where I was very, very sick. I had parasites, bacteria, and mold, and I was sick for a year and a half. I was in bed for 6 months. I slept 10 hours at night and 10 hours during the day. I was non-functional. But had I not done that, I would have died, because it was interesting to see what I had to do to function. So yeah, I was only up for 4 hours a day, like day and night. And so I really got to go into the depths of the power of sleep. I watched myself. I would almost lose my mind, which leads me to the next part of sleep is REM. So REM, we want to have an hour to 2 hours, just like the deep, but REM is when your brain repairs. And this is what I found is very fascinating. I go to sleep at 9 o'clock, and I'm someone that gets up early. Okay. I found some pretty big disadvantages of getting up early. So my body, my brain will wake up at 4:30. It's because I have these creative ideas. Okay. If I didn't express creativity, it'll wake up at 4:30. But I watched my sleep, and so I decided, okay, I'll get up at 4:30. But what was happening was I was missing out on REM. And so I decided to put myself back to sleep.
Yeah.
REM happens because it's the fourth stage. So just remember that, everyone, that the fourth stage is happening the very end of sleep. My best REM was happening from 5:30 to 6:30, but I was getting up at 4:30. So my brain was not functioning well. I could not, I coach a lot of people. I'm building businesses. Like, I couldn't think straight. And if you don't get your REM dialed in, you'll notice more emotional ups and downs. So brain repair happens in REM. But notice you got to go through, my whole point of this is you got to go through light, then deep, and then the very last stage is REM. So disadvantage of getting up early is that you miss out, and it could be a difference of an hour, but almost like 70% of my REM was happening at the very end of my sleep, right before I got up. And remember what I said earlier, if you get REM, the melatonin is decreased. So meaning you could actually wake up. If you don't get REM, you'll feel groggy because the melatonin was never decreased because you never got the REM.
Wow.
Thoughts?
Wild, just wild. I'm thinking back to like my stats and how they work, but also knowing that there have been times that I'm kind of in the 4:30 club too. And I've noticed that when I kind of force myself to go back to bed and can stay, actually get back to sleep until 6:30 or so, A, I notice a difference on the scale, and B, I notice a difference in how I feel the next, that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, I'm glad you got to mention that. I mean, this entire thing, even the Fast 40, and the reason I even built the Fast 40 was because I wanted people to be connected with the truth about their body.
Yeah.
And right now, we are not. We don't teach our kids about the truth about the body. What we know about our body is taught from pharmaceutical companies. That's the truth, and it's bullshit. It's total bullshit.
Yeah. One of the things I've really loved about being in your program is, we've got the community where people will share kind of what's going on in their world. And to see that what works for my body is very different than what
Yeah.
works for the body of some other people.
Yeah.
And to be able to appreciate that, not from a place of judgment of, ooh, I should be eating less because they are, but from a place of, no, my body's just my body. And it's not a one size fits all approach. That's been one of the most
Mm,
fascinating things for me, to just
yeah.
appreciate that everybody is different.
Yes.
And that's something that you've really, really encouraged, and I remember early on, it's like, don't wait for me to tell you to eat more. Listen to your body. If you are hungry, you need to eat more, and that really shifted, I think, my relationship with my body. And so I was able to dial that in with nutrition. And now it's been a matter of, okay, how do I dial that in with sleep? Because
Yeah.
now I realize, okay, I need to listen here too.
Ooh, I think the underlying message that you just kind of pulled out that is inside fast forwarding and what I would teach is listening to your body. Because it's funny because most people think they're listening, but we're not.
Mm-mm.
Like it's such subtleties. You have to get quiet and stop being busy to listen to your body. And your body is the biggest gift. Like people to go to church and praise God, but if you really want to praise God, listen to your body.
Yeah.
This God gave you this thing. This is the most advanced anatomical, biological, electrical thing ever created. This is how I worship my God. Is I love this thing.
Yeah. That's one thing that is so shifted for me in this program. I used to think discipline was almost like deprivation. And
Yeah.
now I've recognized that discipline is actually devotion.
Ooh.
And
Ooh.
that shift in thinking, I was like, okay, it being disciplined about the things that can help my body operate better, that can help me feel better, sleep better, be healthier. That's devotion to this temple, yeah, that God gave me to carry around my soul. And that matters. So
Yeah.
that shift was important.
Thank you for mentioning that. That's really powerful, Lisa. The I have so many women that start my programs and they say, "Oh my God, I'm worried about the being strict and disciplined." And every single person eventually goes, "Oh my God, I have so much freedom." I'm
Yeah.
like, I know it's not because it's not freedom randomly eating at different times and randomly not having structure. So I think what's cool about it is from the masculine and feminine viewpoint, like I've created a masculine structure for the feminine flow. And
Yeah.
like that, I didn't realize that happened, right? I was like, wow, that's really cool. Someone gave me a good example today of like if you want to enjoy a really great glass of orange juice, you need a container. And I thought that's interesting. That's the orange juice would be like the feminine, the container is the masculine. You can't even enjoy the orange juice without putting it in something to drink, some container.
Yep.
So how can you enjoy this energetic flow that you want to have in your life without the container? So this is the container. We show you when to eat. We show you when to sleep. And then more importantly, you start listening to what your body actually needs. Like you said, to your point, everyone's different. So I think that's thank you for mentioning those. Those are beautiful things. The discipline is actually devotion, and you create freedom. And honestly, it's like that. What a great statement. I love that.
Yeah. One of the things with the container too is that it's simple. I mean, some of us, I know you kind of focus on high achieving women, right? And we can make things more complicated than they need to be. And
Right.
one of the things I've loved about this program is just how freaking simple it is. I mean, it doesn't
Right.
have to be hard to be effective. In fact, the simpler it is, the more the more easily people, or at least for myself, can stay disciplined to it. And so I appreciate the simple container.
Ooh.
Now I just need to apply simplicity to sleep.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Because and by the way, that's one of my geniuses that I'm good at is taking very complex things and simplifying. That
Yeah.
is that is what I do for some reason, and I think it's because I
Or
have a
from
simple
that.
man brain. Yeah, I have a simple man brain. I do. So that's beautifully said. Complexity is the enemy of execution.
Mm.
So when someone already thinks something complex, that's why so many people don't have fit bodies. They're like, I'm overwhelmed with nutrition. I'm overwhelmed with working out. So it's like, okay, let's simplify this. And it really isn't overwhelming. It was intended to be very natural. We just made it complex with all the things we've got, and that's a whole other topic of healthcare. But anyway, This is so good. This is great. This is going to be a great video in the course. Thanks for being on with me.
Yeah.
I so appreciate it. And we'll, if we want, maybe we do another video on caffeine and coffee at some point if you want to.
That scares me a little, but yeah, it's probably very necessary.
Scares a lot of people. Scares a lot of people. So trust me. Okay, this is great. All right, Lisa, we'll see you soon.